So I'm Kurt Kiefer again, just a reminder. Wayne, you want to introduce yourself too, please?
Wayne Skaggs, part of the committee, and awful happy to be here and to work on it. It's a nice challenge.
Yeah. We were just joking around before we got started, and we said, you know, Wayne and I are kind of the same ilk. We retired here and we don't have a lot of hobbies like fishing and golfing and hunting and all that kind of stuff. We like instead in our pastime to solve civic problems. And so rural broadband is one of those things. We actually have fun doing stuff like this. So imagine that, kind of weird, but that's the way it is. So it's a lot of fun. And of course, we have a couple of guests with us today, and another person I know most of you know who also likes to have fun doing this stuff.
I do.
Jessica, you want to just
I'm Jessica Hatch. I'm the broadband coordinator for the county. So I do local coordination for all of the municipalities and work with all of you to help with these lovely challenges that we have in the county.
Yeah, and one of the things that I would just point out is the county did a really nice job listening to the citizens here saying, you know what, we got a broadband problem, you got to fix it. And they took some of the one-time federal relief money and used it for some of these issues, including bringing Jessica on board to help coordinate this. And when you look at now what's happening across all 19 municipalities in the county, it's pretty exciting.
It is.
It's really moving. And so you can credit the county, you can credit the partners, you can credit people like Jessica who are helping make that happen. So, and all along the way, I think I want to point out, we've been from the get-go, colleague Dave in the audience is also on the committee. We've got to be careful because we don't want to quorum, but anyway, said we're sharing anything we got. Whatever we're doing in Bailey's Harbor, we're going to share with every other town that wants it, because the problems are the same there and we're not in competition. We're going to figure all this stuff out together. So, and here's the cat herder that's doing it all. So that's Jessica. So the other guest we have with us today is Terry Byrne. Terry, I'll let you just introduce yourself.
I'm from Nicolay Bank, and I am just here to tell you about online banking and how easy and convenient it is, and go through some of the cons, but the issues that can go along with it if you're not careful.
Yeah. So thank you, Terry. Thanks for being here. The other topic, as Terry said, one is online banking today. The other is we're going to go through some government services. We're going to take you all the way from the federal to the state, to the county, to the local level, and just highlight a few of those things. You may already know a whole bunch of those things, and that's great, but there may be some things that you aren't aware of. And why are we doing all this? I think let's get back to the big why. We're doing this because the broadband project is way more than just building out the network. The broadband project is also making sure people understand how to use it, so they can get as much value out of it as possible. So if you don't know how to use it, you're not going to, and it's just a kind of a waste of money. But if we've got folks understanding what they can do with it, then we're going to start to maximize the money we're putting into it. And that's how we're doing it. That's why we're doing these kinds of sessions. It's more than just building out the network. It's also making sure people understand what they can do with it when the network's there. So that's the purpose. Reminders, we start every one of these sessions with these talking points. These are our, Dave and I have referred to these as our elevator pitch. We're going to serve every address in the township. That's the guarantee, right? We're not just going to come through the middle of town and just do the businesses and folks that happen to live along the corridor. We're going to do the whole town. Now, it may take us a little while. The last point is we want to get there by the end of 24. With some issues that we're discovering, with some of the delays that might happen with the electric utility, it might linger a little bit longer. And we're doing everything we can to try to mitigate that, but it may stretch out a little bit longer. But it's coming, and it's coming to every address. I think that's the important thing. We chose a partner. The partner is Cellcom. We do have, as you just heard earlier, we do have Suzanne from Cellcom on the call today. So if there are questions about things that might be relative to what she can answer, she's here. The other thing to keep in mind is it's fiber to the home. Some of the other stuff we've got up here today are things like copper, right? The DSL, they call it. Frontier is a big provider of that. I've got it. It works okay at times. If you're further away from their central points, it doesn't work as well. And then the other one is fixed wireless, and that there's a provider right in Bailey's Harbor, Delaware County Broadband, that has been doing fixed wireless for many years. That's the radio antenna kind of stuff, but they're also changing their business model to fiber as well. So you'll see more and more of that as we go. Everybody's doing fiber because it works, and it works forever. That's the other key. It's absolutely an enduring technology that will be here for a century or more. And I don't plan to be here in another century. I don't think any of us do. And then the other point is, just keep in mind, is that this is lightning fast stuff, right? This is no longer, as we like to call it, the spinning circle of death. This is like, you will never see the spinning circle of death ever again, kind of technology. And then also, while we're going to use some public resources that may raise your taxes $10 a month, it's gonna lead to lower rates and the ability to change some of the services you currently have. So if you have, say, a satellite TV system right now, you might be able to get rid of that and replace it with what we call streaming services, which we went through in one of the earlier sessions. And that significantly can be a cost reduction. So we're kind of hoping that people at the end of the day end up saving $50-$60 a month out of their monthly budget by making this change, even with the public investment that's happening. So and as I said, it's all, we're trying to get things wrapped up by the end of 24, but as we've learned, it may drag a little bit longer because of some of the issues that's happening with the utility, but we'll see. We're going to keep pressing on that and see what we can get done. So that's the openings, kind of, again, just as a reminder. And with that, I think it's time to turn this over to, well, we'll see if it is, because we need to get this thing to move. There we go. Online financial government services. That's our session today. We have touched, like I said, we have touched on a variety of other things, the installation process, the affordability, how do you get connected when you maybe need some additional financial resources to help you get connected. We've done the project in general. We've done, Nathan did a great piece on helping us, Nathan from Quantum Technologies did a great piece on helping us stay safe online. And so we had the library in, we had Door County Medical Center in. Well, today we're going to shift over and talk about banking and financial services online. Terry's going to do that, and then I'm going to wrap it up with Jessica's help doing some of the government services. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Terry.
Hello. Morning. So do any of you currently bank online? I don't know. Okay, so basically, they asked me to come and present on it. I think a lot of people are afraid to bank online. They think it's like you're on the internet and it's fraud and you're more susceptible that way. It's actually safer than writing a check. Sending a check in the mail today is the uptick in paper fraud has way surpassed the electronic fraud that you can control. You can control a lot of the electronic fraud by, I'm sure they talked about this, by not letting somebody on your computer and not falling for scams that way. But with the mail and the ability for people to retrieve other people, I get my neighbor's mail once in a while. It's very easy to counterfeit a check. You can buy check stock, business check stock at any office supply store. So that's where we're seeing a bigger uptick in the fraud. At Nicolay Bank, we have fraud tools that businesses can subscribe to that can minimize or eliminate those by blocking certain transactions, or, I mean, it's kind of a process, but the fraud tools are really, if you have a business, I would definitely have fraud tools especially if you're writing checks. Because we're seeing counterfeit check attempts all the time. As far as your online banking, The bill pay, do you all use bill pay with your online banking? It has saved so many hours of my life, I know. And so I just want to show you a tutorial and show you how easy it is and so forth. I don't know how to go to the next page.
I
Or to
think
my
it's
website.
just that one. Oh, that's the online government. So now you want to get to your demo?
Yeah.
Let me switch the screen. And you are seeing. Oh, no, this is the one, but hang on one second, the way I have to get to it. Alright. Is, we'll escape out of that, and then yours is right there.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
Okay.
that should look, yeah, we're seeing it up there, we should be seeing it on the, if anybody online cannot see the mobile and online banking screen right now, please, say something.
It's good on my end.
Good, we're all good. Thanks for the check. No pun intended.
So in addition to doing the banking online on a computer, you can also have the app on your phone. It's so convenient. I have a couple bills that aren't regular monthly bills for me, so when they come in the mail, I just pay them off my phone in the driveway through our app. I don't really like going to other websites to pay things, so with the bill pay system, you know that you're logged into a secure location, you're doing it through us. You're not out there putting your information in all different applications and so forth. Get there. So it's easy to stay on top of your spending. The never miss a payment, that's what's easier for me. You can have reminders and alerts. You can do mobile deposit with your phone. If you're traveling and you have something you need to deposit, it's very easy. Take a picture of it with your phone and it can get to the bank. We'd love to see you in the branch. I would never talk my way out of a job, but or promote the online banking so much that it eliminates the brick and mortar. But it's convenient when you're away, or if you want to conduct business after hours. It's just it enhances your whole banking relationship, I think. So here's just a demo. I'm good with this mouse. Okay, so when you get logged on, this is what the homepage looks like. You have your various accounts. You can transfer funds between accounts quite easily. You go into your account, you can see your current transactions. This is nice, I think, instead of having to wait for your statement to come, or it gives you the option when you're balancing your checkbook that, maybe I forgot what I wrote 2312 for, check number. So you can actually click on it and it'll show you an image of that check. So it's really good for that. This is really cumbersome for me. I'm so sorry because I'm not used to this. I don't use a laptop ever. I'm a phone and a PC girl. Okay, so alerts. There's multiple alerts that you can set up. I use this I have several. Anytime like a transfer over a certain dollar amount is made, it'll send me an alert. So I know yes, that I did it. I have my kids' accounts on mine. So when theirs gets below a certain level, I have an alert so I can help them if I need to. Unfortunately for me, you can get an alert when your password was changed. Let's see. So you can see there's several categories that you can have your alerts for. I like the security feature. If you'll know if somebody tried to log on as you if, the password was changed, or at the bank, we also have very strong, we have Guardian Analytics that will tell us if you normally log on from a computer at your home and now you're traveling and you went to the library, you're using your phone, we're gonna get an alert that we need to reach out to you and say, hey, were you the one trying to log on to your computer? A lot of people find it invasive and, well, that's none of your business and whatever. And I'm like, well, we want to make sure it was you and not somebody else trying to get into your computer. And then we have the transfer option. Really, really easy to go from one account to another. You get to pick. You can do a draw from your home equity line of credit at 9 o'clock at night if you so choose. You don't have to wait until the bank is open. My favorite is the bill pay. I would be like all gray hair if I didn't have this. So once you have your billers set up in your bill pay, all you have to do to pay a bill is fill in the dollar amount of what you want to pay. It's going to give you a delivery date. So Federal Electric goes electronically, they'll get it by tomorrow. You can set these on auto pay from here, recurring payments, like you're going to be gone for 3 months. I like to control my payments, so I don't put any of them on automatic, but I do, if I'm going on vacation, I can schedule them ahead of time. So I'm not paying them all, today, but in 3 weeks, I can pick the time that I want that bill sent out. I just need to control my outgoings, when they happen. There are some payments that will go by check. You can see now the delivery date changed from tomorrow to the 6th. So that's kind of an indication that the bank is going to send them a check. So you don't have to put the stamp on, you don't have to address the envelope. Paper cut licking the envelope shut. The bank is going to do that for you, absolutely free. There's no cost to bill pay.
So it is a check, it's just all done digitally.
Well, some go digital, that's the faster, but there are some businesses that don't accept a paper, electronic payment.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Yeah.
the bank actually physically mails a
Wow.
check in the
Okay.
mail.
News to me.
Yeah.
So you prearrange those, a monthly payment, but the amounts are different. You can prearrange that has to be paid on a certain date, and then you can go and fill in the amount and either send that by electronic or have them write out a check or print out a check and send it.
Right, most companies take electronic.
Yeah.
Like I use this for an example at my desk all the time because my Lakes gas goes by check and public service goes by electronic. So I'll always pay those bills when I'm doing the tutorial at I just log into my own. But now I've gotten so far ahead on those payments that I keep getting the bill comes and says, do not pay. Because it's the example of how the two different payments are generated. So you notice, you can kind of tell with the delivery date. If the delivery date's the next day, it's electronic. If it's set for a few days out, then it's gonna go by paper.
And just to be clear, so the person getting the money is the one that's gonna say, you send it electronic or send it paper, not you.
Correct. Not
Whichever way they take the money.
correct.
Okay.
Rearrange that with them.
No,
Well,
when you set up the billers.
When you're putting, I'll show you, when you're adding your
Yeah.
company or person. So you can have categories. I have all of mine categorized. If on the utilities, other company, if they have an account number, I'm sorry, that's not right. Some of them will come up pre-filled.
Mhm.
This I'm gonna add ABC company, it's going to would generate a check. Like I have my sister in my bill pay because we go together for gifts for my mom. And she lives in Green Bay. Well, it's easier for me just to send her a check from here than write it out of my checkbook. I haven't not written a physical check since my son graduated high school. And that was only lunch money because I couldn't figure out the Skyward system.
Because it's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
So
But I do the electronic, yes, on Skyward.
you figured it out?
I figured it. They do, they charge you. But I don't have to go to school and drop it off.
That's like milk.
Skyward is the name of the software the school district uses.
Yes.
It also shows, now it's kind of covered up here, but you can see what's pending, so what has been generated, but it's not transmitted yet. Back to your question about setting it up for future. You don't even have to put the delivery date in there, because you could change what day you want to pay that bill. So it's not necessarily gonna always be on its due date. But if you set it up, like I can change this delivery date.
You can set
Is what I'm
reoccurring too,
getting.
right?
You can make it on, yep.
You can make it
set
reoccurring on the same day.
But I
every
can,
month.
if I'm going away and I wanna get everything set up, I can change this delivery date so that it's not gonna get delivered till the 30th. But I know that I did it, so I don't have to worry about it when I'm at Mickey Mouse's house.
So it shows in your account that it's been, that it's all taken care of.
Well, it won't show you until the money comes out. It's gonna show you in your bill pay though.
Yeah, right away.
Yeah, you can see what you have pending.
What's
There's-
scheduled, and then
What's
when
what
it
you have
takes it
scheduled.
out, you'll see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's also nice are some companies, you see where it says get bills? Some companies will like electronically send the bill to your bill pay. So it will tell you, I have 2 of them that do it.
Mhm.
So it'll say, I'll get a reminder in this bill due part. Your direct TV bill for $98.12 is due on such and such a date. It's really handy. I am so bad with the paper mail because I don't have a desk at home anymore to throw it all on. So it ends up in my purse or on my visor or, so I really like that that you can get the bills sent right to your bill pay. It also shows you, so what you have pending, and then it shows you recent. So if you are like, did I pay it or not? Because you don't have to pay for. You can look in your bill pay and see that you paid it or how much you paid last time. It's kind of nice, my electric bill was $80 this month, it was $100 last month, what am I doing different? It's just, it's really, really slick. And it's really easy to add, like I said, add the people. A lot of companies are, just gonna put the utilities here, because this is just a tutorial. So some companies are set. So this Waterworks, now I just put the account number in it. That's gonna be an electronic payment. Okay, so you can kind of tell when you're setting it up.
And that's because there isn't anything else there. It's
Correct.
just 2 pieces of information. That's it.
Correct. There's also Zelle, where you can send money. That's a money transfer. Have you all heard of Venmo?
Mhm.
Zelle is the same as Venmo. So it's a very easy way to send it to a person. My sister's a dinosaur, so she doesn't have Zelle, so that's why I have the bank send her a check.
When they get it, does it come in the form of a printable check then, or?
My sister's, yes.
Or does it?
I thought it was a digital deposit.
Zelle.
Not all, Zelle.
Zelle.
I thought you,
Zelle.
Yeah.
that's your question,
Persons
Zelle.
don't use
No,
Zelle.
Zelle is digital, so they would retrieve it from their Zelle. You have to both have the Zelle.
Oh,
Just like if you have Venmo, both parties have to have Venmo.
You have to have it set up, that account.
For the digital thing to happen, otherwise you said it's gonna go paper, that's what you're saying.
Correct, like,
Zelle would send her a paper one, because she
it's,
doesn't have.
I don't pay her through Zelle, I pay her through bill pay.
Got it,
Zelle is just a person-to-person transfer.
okay, that's all digital.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else was I gonna?
Is Zelle specific to Nicolay Bank or is it just a specific to banking,
No,
like an app for person to person?
I think anybody can get the Zelle app.
Okay,
But sounds like
Zelle-
Paul said
Zelle-
Ulysses is it.
Zelle is on your banking, you have to have a banking account that has
linked
Zelle.
to it, much like
Where
Venmo.
Venmo is a third-party app that anybody can subscribe to. And as long as both of you are on Venmo, the money can be transferred. And it goes into your Venmo account,
Right,
which can be hooked to a banking account.
right.
But I believe Zelle.
Zelle is why I've seen it's a bank to bank. So you've got a bank account and that bank supports Zelle.
Yeah,
You can send it to another Zelle account that's with the
Yeah.
bank.
Right, but prior to us, subscribing with Zelle, we had Pop Money.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So you can pop money, but you could still have the Zelle, you could still have a Zelle app
Mhm.
to, I think it's similar to Venmo that way.
Oh, very
It's just,
similar.
Yeah.
this is the one that we use, that we subscribe to, and it's a part of your online banking.
Yep.
It makes it
you just
easier.
cannot send outside of Zelle.
Correct.
Okay,
Using Zelle, it's Zelle to
Zelle to
by
Zelle,
your
Correct.
bank.
yeah, not
Yeah.
Zelle to
Correct.
Venmo or anything.
Yep.
Yes, just like it would be Venmo to Venmo.
Yeah,
If you want to send money to somebody. I mean, I have people that do this for their grandkids, they'll put them in their bill pay. To send them their birthday money or whatever, because they're too little.
I don't know if I can share from my perspective, and just my peers. With Zelle, I know that even in my age, bracket who's pretty comfortable with technology, some people feel much more secure using Zelle versus Venmo.
And that's mainly because they have the assurance that it's tied to their banking institution.
Correct. Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very insecure about transmitting money that way. And I've never had an issue with Zelle. So that is the bill pay.
May I say something else about your bill pay or bill pay in general?
Yes,
We've been here since November and I got a notice last month. My wife set up a number of accounts, mainly with utility, that they go into our checking account and get the money out. And I said, that's not that can be dangerous. And she said, but it's easy. I don't have to do anything. They do it all the time. I said, yes. And you don't know if the amount they're taking is correct.
until you compare it with your bill.
Yeah, and if once they've taken the money, it's your job to get it back. When you do that, I mean, that's what I've experienced. When you do bill pay, you send them the money. So you're in charge of sending them the money. And if there's a dispute, you're the one in charge.
Mhm.
When they've got your money, you have to prove to them that they made the mistake.
And you can do stop payment on it too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
with you can
That's
do a
ahead of
stop
time,
payment with bill pay. One thing about the automatic payments, I know for older people and that don't have to worry because they keep so much in their checking account, they don't have to worry how much is in there when those payments come out. I like to control, I have to
Yeah.
keep everything separate. I can't keep a big chunk in there. So for me, I like to do the manual. There are some companies like Public Service. My mom, she has that just automatically deducted. The thing that I really try to impress this on the younger people now, they'll use their debit card to make some of those payments. You absolutely cannot do a stop payment on a debit card.
Yeah.
So if you are gonna set it up electronic and you don't want to do it through the bill pay, to set it up with the company to pay it is better because that you can do a stop payment on. It just takes longer than it does to stop it in your bill pay. Because you can change So with the auto pay, that's more for a set amount. If your dollar amount's gonna change all the time, it's not gonna really adjust for that. Unless I think you have it with the e-bill, where the bill comes to us, because we would not know what to change the amount to, unless that company is telling us.
Tim, just to mention, I love auto pay. I use it all the time. I let them debit right out of my accounts, either credit card or my bank account. But I've set it up so that I get an alert when the bill comes. I get alert when the money's gone. And so I can see and I know exactly what's going on. And I have the opportunity to avert. Or if I have to, I'll just switch vendors.
They
If
send out
somebody
an
doesn't
email
wanna
message
accommodate.
well in advance of when it's gonna be due. You also set your own due date.
Exactly. I mean, everybody has their personal preference. I just want to be careful that we're not maligning some of these services that are very, very convenient. Especially a lot of retired folks up here who like to get out of here for a couple months a year. When my regular bills are getting paid
Right,
when I'm gone somewhere for 60 or 90 days.
right.
And so that's why I use it and I've never had any problems.
Right, we haven't either.
You use the app on your phone too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a tablet, my phone, my laptop, my desktop.
Yeah.
I've got them set up so that they're all synchronized.
Yeah. The application on the app is a little different than it is online. I mean, the app is very handy for me for transferring funds and just doing one bill at a time. With doing it on the PC, you could fill in all of these bills and hit one button, well, two, because you have to review it and then submit it, which is a big step that a lot of people miss. And say, well, I did it on bill pay. No, you didn't actually submit it. But it just takes so much time out of your, I don't know, before I had bill pay, it would take me 2 hours a month to sit down and,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and I had a husband who hated to help with that. He's like, well, then we have to hire someone because I don't like that at all. So well, only for so long, he's not my husband anymore. No. But great friends. Anyway, the
It's gotta pay his own bills.
just
Wonderful
the
human being.
time that it saves is fabulous. Now, I wanted to show you one more thing on this, on your accounts. So if you budget or if you keep track of things for tax purposes, I know the standard deductions are so high right now. I don't know anybody that itemizes right now. But you see, we have this categorize tab. You can assign a category. Some of the categories will pre-fill, but you can assign a category to that payment. And then you can look at this report and you can change the date range. Now, this is just for 1 month, but if you want like a year to date, and I don't know if the tutorial is set up for that or not, but it's not set up to change the dates. But like I just ran one for myself for the whole last year. It's kind of nice. You can see where your money's going when it is in a big color. You're like, I'm really going out to restaurants way too much.
Out way too much. Is the
To
category.
really spend more money on groceries than not entertain restaurants. So I like the categorized part, but you can change the category if it doesn't fit. And there's a whole list of what you can label that expense as. So if you keep track of mileage for work, or if you know, you can expense everything out into its own category and kind of see where it all, it's kind of handy at tax time. Does anyone have any questions? I'm over my time.
Yeah.
Well, no, you talked a little longer.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. Any other questions for Terry? Any other points to make as users yourselves?
Would you say that, online banking or mobile banking, one is more secure than the other?
You mean versus the phone versus the
The mobile app?
The mobile app?
If you're connected.
Computer versus phone.
Yeah.
that might be a question for Nate.
Well, in some ways, the phone is more secure because the apps come from your trusted source, your Play Store or your App Store. And the phone is less susceptible for someone else to be connected to it or remoted into it. A PC, you know, on its own could have malware on it, or you could have somebody else connected to a machine. So in that case, the phone is probably more secure these days.
I mean, a lot of people are really gun shy. What the feedback I get is, well, you walk through the airport, somebody can get on your network, or if you're on somebody's Wi-Fi, they can get on. Those aren't the kind of scams that we're seeing. I think people that are using that type of scamming, that's a whole different ballgame. Would you agree?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. It's mostly social engineering.
Mhm.
You know, of someone sending you a fake invoice for $900 and saying there might have been a problem, call this number to get it resolved. And you call and they say, yeah, we're with, you know, Amazon, we want to connect to your computer to review the purchase or something. So most of the scams and hacks are, you know, socially engaged instead of, you know, hacking your technology. Not that those type of attacks don't happen, but. most,
And I think
you know,
real hacks aren't really, it's not really a hack if you allow them into your computer. If they tell you to go to any desk, which is a connection for them, if they can get into your phone, only if you let them. So the true hacking, I don't know, I feel like our fraud, I don't know what to even call it.
Firewall?
The safety that we have is really, really strict. We just went to a multi-factor authentication, which most financial institutions should be using by now. It can be a pain in the hind end, but
And Nathan showed us that last,
Right.
session too, so. Yeah.
But it's really for your safety, you know, I know that all of the wealth management companies use it. The banks were a little bit behind on it, but that we're using it now, and once you do it and you establish a pattern, it's not gonna bother you. But if you go, like I said, you're on vacation and you log into a computer at someone's library or someone else's home, it's gonna ask you that to get that code and answer a question or something to make sure that it's you. So it's really for your protection.
Well, I want to thank Terry for spending her time with us this morning. We need to give her a round of applause. Thank you.
I just had one quick question.
Yes.
If there was a customer of Nicolay Bank who was interested in, you know, kind of venturing their first time into some of the online banking, would they be able to bring in a bill or two and have somebody at the bank kind of walk them
Absolutely.
through that?
I do it all the time. All the time.
Great question, great answer.
Yeah. Because when somebody has their accounts compromised or their computer compromised, we actually make them close their accounts and open new accounts. Because you're only seeing the last 4 digits of the account number on here, there is a way to see the whole number. So, honest, there's a way. It's not gonna show me on here, but like on your phone, on our app, there's a little eyeball. If you hit the little eyeball, it's gonna display the whole number. So somebody could have had access. It's just a preventative. It takes the risk out of our hands to close those accounts and open new ones. And we always have to help people reestablish stuff.
Again,
I don't know how to get out of here.
yeah, I can. Thank you very, very much. Really appreciate it. Now we're gonna pivot over to online government services. And I'm gonna just tell you that very briefly, we're going to close this tab, so you're out of there. I'll get this back in this slideshow mode. We're gonna breeze through these relatively quickly because I think some of them are you're probably pretty familiar with them, but I think when you see kind of the buffet that we're gonna share this morning, you'll be amazed literally with how much you can actually do online now. It's pretty amazing. So I'm gonna do the federal and state, pivot over to Jessica, who's gonna talk about the county stuff, and then I'll wrap up the municipality. So first off, and all of these on the, when we get this posted to we're posting all the materials to the Bailey's Harbor Community Association website. So if you're looking for any of these resources, go there, and they're all listed by the workshop session, courtesy of the BHCA, and then with Tracy doing the recording and whatnot, the recordings will be posted there too. So U.S. Postal Service, obviously you can go on there. I'll show you a couple of those things. Social Security and Medicare, right? You manage your Social Security and Medicare on there online now too. Everything can be done there. If you're a veteran, Veterans Affairs has a bunch of stuff that you can get at. There's actually a federal site that literally is just look for your benefits. So if you're entitled to benefits of some sort, right, you can go on that site and literally find them. You need to do a passport, you can do all the application stuff there. They won't take your picture online, but then you just go see Brandon down at the post office and he'll take your picture for you. And then obviously you do your taxes. You can do your taxes all online. I think that's what everybody is doing these days. And then, then there are services like the weather stuff, that I use. That's the only place I go. One of the things that that you can do is literally in USPS is not only track your packages. You can buy stamps there now. And then the other one is this informed delivery that I think is fascinating. I don't have it, but my wife has it. She gets a picture every day of all the mail that's in the box. So she can decide if she wants to go pick up the mail today, because it might be just a bunch of crap. And I'm sorry, that's maybe an inappropriate term.
That's
Exactly.
brilliant.
Exactly. So check out informed delivery.
How's Brandon feel about that?
He probably
piling up in it.
Yeah, well, that could be. And there it is. There's the little slide about informed delivery. So take a peek. Again, Social Security, you can do all your Social Security management on there, and Medicare. So just showing you a couple of these things, highlighting a few things. Veterans Affairs, all of that information has been digitized now too, including both your healthcare and your disability status, as well as other features. This is that general government benefits thing that you're looking for. So disaster relief, financial assistance, healthcare, loans, things like that. You can find, this is just a curated resource that you can go to say, hey, I'm looking for some help on one of these kinds of issues that are all related to the federal government. Passports, you can get all your application stuff filled out there, right? And monitor it right online. And then of course, IRS, everything's happening, right? You're digitally filing all your tax forms now and what have you. And then finally, like I said, I go to the NOAA site all the time. This is like my bread and butter. I use this one to check the daily. I'm a geek, so I like the one that shows all the graphs of the out by hour, what the forecast is of wind speeds and cloud cover and all that stuff. So, and you can just put it on your phone too, by the way. So, all right. What does the state have? The state has literally a main landing page for the state, which will point you immediately to some of the state online resources. Some of the common things that I think people like to look at are like, well, you have to renew your driver's license. Well, you can do most of it online, right? Unless you have to have your picture taken, and then you have to go in. But otherwise, you can just do the whole thing right online. I'll show you this one, traffic and road conditions. There's a great site that the state manages for checking, hey, will I be able to make it to Wausau today safely? That kind of thing. All your hunting, fishing, camping, campsite reservations, all of that stuff is all digital now too. And then there are resources. I'll show you something about education, which is what I used to do and what kinds of things we had from the Department of Public Instruction up there. And then of course the job training sites. And then, yep, you can pay your state taxes online too. So this is that main website that you go to for the state. And they just put the real popular things at the bottom, right? So, and from there, but below this, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you can put in there. And then of course it's got a question, a search bar too. So you can just search for what you're looking for. This is the Wisconsin Department of Transportation Division of Motor Vehicles. So this is where, this is the site where you go if you need to redo your driver's license, right? You don't need to drive to Sturgeon Bay to do that. The other thing I just wanted to point out was this real ID thing. You definitely need to finish that. I think that's this year or next year. It's coming up, but you need to have your license updated to this real ID thing. Because like if you're going through the airport or something, that's all they need now is just take the ID.
It's right there, May 3rd, 2023.
Oh, thanks for reading that for me. I'm glad you're here, Dave. So it's coming up.
Here to help.
Helping.
It's coming up. So got to do that. This is that 511, this is that road condition webpage. It's called 511wi.gov. And literally there's, you can peek on here for all kinds of different things. They even have cameras linked on this website. So if you want to see what does the intersection of blah and blah look like, if they have a camera there, but they have a lot of the popular places, right, where there's heavy traffic, you can literally see what the traffic's like, you know, that kind of thing.
Next to Lambeau Field.
Well, yeah, of course. All right, and then the DNR's online thing is called Go Wild Wisconsin, and that's where you can get in and manage your own account, and then you'll have access, you know, like I said, you can do all the licensing stuff, campsite reservations, all that stuff is on there. This is the one that we built for education, Wisconsin Information System for Education. That's when I worked at the Department of Public Instruction. So you can find all kinds of data about the school district. There's actually tools there that allow teachers to renew their certifications in there, for administrators who are hiring people to go in there. But then as the public, you can get in there and see a bunch of information about your school district and your schools within it and what have you. Job centers, right? If you're looking for work or you're an employer looking for employees, right? You can use the job center as a way to do that. You don't have to use Indeed or those kinds of online tools. You can just use Job Center to help you with that as well. And then of course, there's all kinds of training stuff that's now available in here as well. And then, yep, you can pay your taxes online too in Wisconsin. At this point, I'm going to just pivot this over to Jessica. And all I've done is just embedded all the links. So
Okay.
I think, I'm gonna see if I have, yeah, I did put a couple of these in here. So just so you I don't know if you saw that or not, but I put a couple of those things in there.
I couldn't find your link that you sent me, so that's okay.
We'll wing it.
I will wing it. It's
All right.
fine. So there's a lot of online services through the county that are usable for you, especially since COVID-19 and pandemic. We pushed a lot of resources online to make things a lot easier for you. So we have our notification email system. There is an online payment system for a lot of the services. Some of them do have a fee attached to them to process those credit card fees if you pay online. It's kind of rated and based on how much that cost is, and it will tell you as you go in to process it. Land information and resources, you can get a lot of different information from them, from that department. Let's say you need or want something on your parcel or different parcels and different information that you would like for whatever purpose. You can pay for that and they'll send it to you. Personal property records, real estate records through Register of Deeds. There is a fee required with that. And I know I have fee schedules that I brought with me too. Vital records under Register of Deeds, all of those things that you can get: birth, death, marriage, domestic partnerships, and military discharges with a fee attached to them also. Voting and election information and results. Our code of ordinances are on there, which is pretty lengthy. County Board of Supervisors and recorded meetings are on there. Agendas for all the committees and board meetings and commissions will be posted with the full packet. So it will have the agenda, it will have minutes included on it from the previous meeting, and it will have the full agenda packet in case you're interested in any of the materials on there. And then some of those meetings are open to Zoom sessions that you can log in to meet those public meeting needs. So you don't have to necessarily drive down to the government center and sit in on that meeting if you don't want to. There is the employment application system, which you actually have to create an account. If you wanted to apply for any work under the county, which we are always looking for any assistance and different employees to help out. Parks information maps. I know that the parks information, I talked to the director yesterday. You can print out all of the forms to fill out. But for that specifically, you still have to go in and pay in person for parks and different things like that. That is not something you can pay for online. But yeah, they do have live cameras in different areas like Sugar's Dock for boat launch and different things like that. Snowmobiles alerts. And then the sheriff's department has the online tip, accident reporting and records request.
Do you want to highlight this?
Yeah, so you can get notified anytime that you are interested. You can sign up for just different things that you would like notifications on. Like a very good example, I know this is more at a town level, but it applies to county. Like I get notifications on any meetings that I'm interested in getting. Like I get alerts on certain Bailey's Harbor meetings, and you can do the same because most of those meetings are set dates, agendas, committee meetings, but sometimes they shift. So then you can get a notification, and usually there is the agenda and packet attached to it so that you can look through it and review it before that meeting happens, which is really nice. So this is the online payment screen. So this link on the website shows you all of the services that are available that you can pay for online, and those different tabs will give you the drop downs and sometimes just direct you right to that bill pay area where you put your credit card in and pay for things. You can pay your taxes online. However, there is a good fee attached to pay your taxes online. There's a flat fee. So if your taxes are, I would have to pull out the schedule fee, but when I looked at it yesterday, I think if it's under $10,000, it's $150 for that fee. And then if it's over $10,000, there's a flat fee for it too. So I guess convenient if you're out of state and want to take care of that. But if you're here, I think we all would probably just pay in person. And then all of those different drop downs will give you areas that they allow you to pay for those different things. So Land Information Services is a pretty large department that covers a lot of different things. So our GIS map of Door County, it's going to give you the Door County web map. That is going to be going through some updates this year, and we're going to be changing our platform. I use this on a daily basis. I have been using it on a daily basis for about 6 years now. You can go in and you can look at, you can search by last name, you can search by parcel number, you can search by address, and pull up any information if you're just curious, like, well, who owns this parcel? Because it's all public record, so you can search it. I have it's very likely I've been on almost every one of your parcels at some point looking at it for something, especially with the broadband map and survey that we're doing. Land record search of real property listing and treasurer records is very similar to that. Zoning and sanitary permit records, I brought some of that along so that you can see what the fee schedules are for those things and can look up those. Tie sheet map application of monument. Oh, this is a surprise to me. This one, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
A couple of these I haven't gone on to. Municipal roads atlas is fun also. Parcel and address locator is really nice and easy if you're looking for anything, and it's going to give you, what size your parcel is, what those boundaries are. It's pretty neat. You can look at the history of the parcel, who owned it prior to you, tax information that's linked to it, survey control reference sheets that I'm not familiar with either. Tax parcel maps is really fun because it has like the whole history of that parcel in there, what the taxes were, who used to own it. Real estate records ties to that as well, and then register of deeds. Oh, yes. So Cane Island does have a camera to it, since The county actually owns Cana Island. However, Cana Island is actually managed by the Maritime Museum. So we have a partnership in place under the county, even though it's ours, the Maritime Museum handles that for us. And then there's all the tours out there and everything. So we split the proceeds from that. But there is a camera that's available so you can see what's going on. As we all know, the water levels have been very, very high the past couple of years.
Yeah, and this picture I took just literally on Saturday.
Oh,
So,
fun.
yeah, so, and so you can kind of check to see if you want to be, if you can walk out.
If you can walk across, which in the winter, is kind of the only time the past couple of years you've been able to walk across. And then they have those fun trolley tours that you can hop on and they'll take you over and across. So fun fact, 2012, I got married and I have a picture of myself in my wedding dress walking across the shoal
Oh,
because the water was so low. And I believe it was only a year after that,
nice.
maybe 2013 or 14, that you haven't been able to walk across without hip waders since then.
That would have made a sight.
It would have made a much worse picture.
Yeah. All right. So then, thanks, Jessica. Then we'll pivot over to just the local town. There is the basic town website. Go there. There's lots of, that's where basically all this other stuff is there. There is a notification feature for the town government, just like Jessica mentioned for the county government. If you say, I didn't know about, this can help eliminate the I didn't know about, right? I mean, you can go in there and get notified on darn near anything. And as she said, it'll just come as a text message or an email, depending on how you set it up. And then you can open up the documents that have agendas and things like that. So, you know, I having been in working for the government for most of my career, there's really, trying to make sure people are aware of stuff, right? And this is the kind of tool that allows you to know what's going on.
I will say we're very lucky at Bailey's Harbor too, that we have this because there are a lot of the municipalities that are not using HayGov yet.
Okay.
So we're very ahead of the curve that we have this, because when I'm out talking to the other municipalities, a lot of them don't have this service available and they aren't able to do this and they're kind of switching over. So we're
Well, and the other thing with that is when you sign up for this stuff, then like, you've given us a piece of contact information. You want to hear from us. So like the broadband updates we send out, we post them around town, but we also can electronically get them to anybody who signed up. So that way, again, it's a way of staying informed. And we have that list because people have said, yes, I want to hear about things. So, and we've got 400 and some folks.
which is a
signed
lot
up.
more than most municipalities have for that outreach into the community of the, especially year-round residents.
Again, licenses and permits, you can find out about what the town has there. Again, our board and committee agendas and minutes are all posted there, the ordinances and resolutions, and then how to get a hold of the staff. Those are all things that you can get at the town site. So that's where we are. We are at the end of our session. We made it on time. We're at 10 o'clock, which was our goal. Let me just check to see if there's anybody out there that has a hand raised. I don't see anybody with a hand raised at this point. Any other questions we have in the room? Let me ask you this, because many of you have been to most of these sessions. I know we talked about a couple of other topics we want to do follow-up on. I know we've got one conversation scheduled with the businesses in town. We're working on that for April 12th through the Bailey's Harbor Community Association to talk through, Nathan, you said you'd be there. I know that Susan, Insight Zelcom is going to be there. Have a conversation about what they need as a business to take advantage of the network. I know we've talked about homeowners associations as a separate conversation, just what's involved with them. And then multiple dwelling unit situations, right, where folks have needed to talk about that use case. So we're going to have a couple more targeted kinds of things. But are there any other topics that we could go further with that we've already touched on that you'd like to dig deeper on, or other topics that we've missed? Opportunity to give us some feedback.
Do you have one specific, I was on vacation, so I may have missed, like, to cover digital equity and inclusion as a whole?
Well, we did the, the affordability thing. So no, I don't, we could talk a little bit more about what
An
that
umbrella of
means.
that,
Yeah.
so that there's that, understanding.
Yes.
Since we're gonna start
That's-
pushing that out countywide as
Do you
well,
have an estimate of how much it would cost per household
For
for the?
monthly.
the rate plans are published, yep, and we talked about that at the beginning. So the rate plan that Insight Cellcom has is it's roughly, I'm just I'm not gonna use exact dollars and cents, but it's roughly $50 a month for the first 12 months and $65 a month after that. Plus, if you want, and we had this conversation, you want to rent what they call their gateway device, which acts as sort of a router too. That's another $8 a month on top. So it's somewhere between the first year cost would be, if you did the rental, would be 58-ish, and then after that, it'll be closer to 75-ish or something like that.
And is there an installation fee?
So it's a $20 install fee if you don't want to. If you take a contract for at least a year, and it's $120 if you don't take a contract for at least a year. So pretty minimal in terms of the installation fees, really.
No,
And that's
what you're getting at is 300 up and 300 down.
Yeah, the base plan
That
is,
means nothing to me. I don't
Well,
understand.
Lightning, Terry, lightning.
I will just, let me say this, most people in Bailey's Harbor, based on the survey stuff, and we've heard from nearly 350 different people now, is about 10 down and 1 up, and it's gonna be 300 down and 300 up at the base plan. You can go a little higher than that if you want, but so,
It means virtually instantaneous response time. right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I was questioning was like not the household, but like, is it something that will just increase your property taxes, or is there like a
Absolutely.
installation, like what's that cost to the to the?
All
so.
the annual.
So the project is about $5.25 million, and the town is gonna end up probably paying for roughly half of it. That's what we're saying. So it's gonna raise your taxes somewhat, and the levy we've assumed on a $300,000 property is around $10 a month-ish, right? Something like that.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
But here's the key, we make a big point of this. Your rates are gonna drop, because
Right.
today, most people are paying on average, around $75 to $100 a month just for their internet. You put on top of that, this satellite TV stuff that people are paying for, that's $150 more. And if you can stream
It is.
instead, we're probably looking at out of your pocket, 150, but today you're probably paying 200 or more combined.
The reason it's a little squishy is, A, we don't know what plan everybody's gonna take.
Right.
You could take more than 300, you can go as much as a gig if you want it, and that's 3.5 times that, if you need it or want it. And we don't know the extent to which people will choose to replace their other TV source for streaming, much less what streaming plan they're gonna go for.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why it kind of hedges this a little bit,
Right.
but it will be less expensive and you will have better performance.
Mhm.
And the thing that one of our goals, right, was to, I think, let me just go back to the beginning here, because I think that's where we say it. The fifth bullet point on this slide is the goal is to keep this cost neutral for all households' monthly budgets. No more, at least the same, and no more, hopefully less, with some of these cost reductions. And you get 30 times better, or 10 times at
Or
just
just
10
service
times better
period,
service.
Oh,
Terry.
yeah, or service.
Yeah.
Or just
Yeah,
service
none.
period.
Yeah. Period.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of people are still using their cell as their
Right.
device.
Well, I
for
did
communications.
for a hotspot, but I can't, I
It'll
don't
get
have
the
any
job
where I live.
done.
Nothing is.
Right.
no,
You're in the black
I
hole.
can't get Frontier, I can't.
Not good.
So,
You're talking that your taxes will go up for 5 years.
no, your taxes will go up until we pay off the bond. So the bond is 20 years-ish. We don't,
That's
it's
all
not
being
been,
worked on right now.
So, yeah,
That's, Dave's area.
so $10 a month is kind of what we're ballparking.
Well, after 20 years. it'll go up.
But the first month, if you change your satellite TV service, you're gonna save $50 a month. So that's what we mean. It's like, you can't look at this just as one piece of the puzzle. It's the whole picture. And when you do that, we gotta do something like this. First of all, we gotta do it because some people just don't have access and we need to get everybody access. So.
It's like electricity in my mind.
It is definitely.
Like it's infrastructure, you have to have it, and when you.
Yeah.
And you might not realize until you don't have it or can't have it. If you don't have it by choice, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But when you can't have it, it's so frustrating.
I viewed it as akin to when we went through during the fifties and sixties of installing the interstate highway system. That's what this is about. Is creating that infrastructure for communication that's gonna be critical. It is critical now, and it's only gonna get more critical going
And it
forward.
looks like we'll have a net gain.
Yes.
You know, I mean, overall, we're gonna come off paying less than we're.
That's the goal.
I don't
That's the
I
goal,
don't know
Judd.
where else you can point and say, we're paying less for something that's tremendously better. And in fact, in some cases, non-existent up here.
Right, right.
In a lot of cases.
You have the initial
non-existent.
cost. Is there a maintenance cost going into the future? And
No,
that big?
no, that's paid through your rates. You know, it's when you subscribe for the service, that the partner, Insight Cellcom, would be taking that rate money to do the operations and maintenance stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, not the town. The
The reason
town,
it-
town has a one-time investment. It's a long-term investment, but it's a one-time investment.
The reason it hasn't happened sooner is it's just simply uneconomic for the commercial outfits to put the infrastructure in.
Right,
There's not enough subscribers to warrant the capital investment.
yeah,
So that's why with the government grants, as well as municipal participation and others, that's how you get this done. Otherwise, it would not happen.
and I just jump on that and say, you know what, we can keep talking about either or we could say, you know what, we gotta pitch in a couple of different ways and we'll get this problem solved. Sometimes we always want to say, well, let the private sector fix it. And then other times we say, oh, the public sector. Well, this is an example of, you know what, it needs both of us. And we're
Public-private
actually working
partnership.
together to figure this out for everybody. It's a remarkable idea in America, right? We can actually work together to solve this problem. So that's kind of that's the approach we're taking. So it's like, we're gonna do this together because we know that some companies, as Dave just said, they'll never be able to afford this just on the rate recovery, the rates they charge people alone. And that's just good business sense on their sake, from there. I wouldn't do it either if I were in their shoes. But we want to make sure, to the point Terry made about it's now infrastructure, it's everybody needs it. If the town's gonna do this, the town's gonna make sure that first bullet point is addressed. Every address is gonna get served. Or we're not doing it, right? We're not gonna make this investment if not everybody's gonna get it.
Who's in charge of repairing?
So
If it's hanging from
Yeah.
power lines and there's a car accident and
That's our partner,
That's the end of it.
You got it. That's their responsibility.
Yeah, we don't have the resources of the town.
Town ain't doing that.
And operate it and bill for it and all of
Nope.
the maintenance, couldn't do it.
Nope,
We're not big enough.
Now,
So all household,
their
sorry.
costs. When will they raise their rate?
so that's a question we had for them, and they had demonstrated by giving us their rate plans, they hadn't raised their rates for like 5 or 6 years. So you can assume if their past practice is the same as going forward, which it may not, but we kind of have to believe that, with this level of investment, we're probably gonna make it easy for them to keep rates pretty flat for a while. That same practice, but we can't guarantee it. Are they gonna double their rates? No. I don't think anybody's talking about doubling rates. Would they change, would they go up 1%, 2%, 3% or something like that over a few years or possibly?
They're gonna have a lot of new customers too.
They will have more customers.
They will have some competition too.
They will have competition too.
Deal with that.
That's right, which is a good thing. That's what we're discovering in Door County right now. There's a lot more competition since we started this project.
Mhm.
We've kind of lit a fire for competition, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. So, Bring it on.
On the cost thing, costs aren't going down. I mean, let's be realistic, costs are going up. There's gonna be more demand for fiber. There's gonna be more demand for the equipment because of all the money that's flooding into this. In all these municipalities, and it's not just here, it's not just Door County,
All
it's
America.
all of Wisconsin, it's everywhere in this country.
Nationwide.
Federal funds are coming in order to improve the communications infrastructure, which is gonna put some stress on the system, which of course is gonna probably cause some costs to rise as there's more demand for the same amount of supply until the supply chain catches up.
Good for us to get in as quick as we can.
That's why we want to
Right,
leave.
that's the other thing.
There's giant backlogs on materials across all distribution for fiber, but
Yeah.
also for skilled workers, just
Mhm.
place it and install it. So, it is a race to get, these projects started first while there's still material and labor, available.
Yep.
And with a lot of projects having the same timeline of all finishing in 2023 or finishing in 2024, we need to have enough material and people to install it.
Sounds like job creation.
It is a Jobs Act. There's no
There is
question.
workforce development tied
I
to
think-
all of this.
I think the other thing I would point out, and it's to what Dave said earlier, and that is that this problem, and I've used this as a talking point in the past, this is not the first time this country has solved this problem. This country solved this problem 90 years ago. It was called rural electrification.
TVA.
And it wasn't done just with private money. It was done with public money too. They did it together. And that wasn't good enough. Because 20 years later, we solved the problem again. And it was called rural telephone. Same story, exact same story. Couldn't do it with just private investments because they weren't, as Dave said, they weren't gonna take a loss trying to reach some of us who live further away from cities. It needed public investments and they did it together. And now now you can complain about the telephone company, you can complain about the electric company, you can complain about all those things, but the bottom line is, that's how service got extended. We're doing it again in Bailey's Harbor. It's the same darn recipe. We're doing it here. So,
Just one question.
yeah.
Have you, gotten any further in terms of what area you're gonna try?
So we hope that at our meeting tomorrow, we get a plan for what's gonna happen this year. Not for out years, but at least for this year. So if you're interested, come to the meeting. We're at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Or, yeah, it's online. Those are online. You can do that
Oh, it's tomorrow?
tomorrow. We have a different meeting at 5 o'clock
Okay.
today, but
Yes.
yeah,
You can.
right here. So,
Okay.
yeah.
In a nutshell, near-term challenges are with aligning with WPS, where we need new poles.
Okay.
Because there's tremendous demand placed on them.
We're beyond the scope of I think we can incorporate this into a broadband Q&A session with the committee.
So we can talk about that the meeting is tomorrow
Yes,
and that we will be raising this topic tomorrow.
sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for feedback? It's been great Q&A at the end. This kind of brings us full circle, frankly, because we had this kind of conversation at the first workshop, but we need to keep reiterating it. I get that. So, all right. Well, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. And don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you. You're outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank
What a great
you.
meeting.
Thank you.